Yes, thank you.
Okay, it's on.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it, but. Oh, I should.
We gotta get them back. Right.
Okay. Call to order the Village of Riverwoods Board of Trustees meeting for September 2nd, 2025. Will you please rise with me and say the pledge?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Ford,
Present.
Trustee Clayton, Trustee Eastmon,
Here.
Trustee Jamerson,
Here.
Trustee Rath,
Here.
Trustee Smith,
Here.
Trustee Trevino.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. You'll note a small change to the agenda. This is kind of a little step toward perhaps being a bit more efficient with meetings. We're introducing the concept of a consent agenda. And tonight, on the consent agenda, are the minutes of the board meeting of August 19th and the approval of the bills. If any of the trustees has any issues with items on the agenda, in the consent agenda, we can remove those and vote on the consent agenda as it then is revised. So at this point, Trustee Jamerson, please.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely. This is very new.
Since
And
this is brand new,
I know, and it's attempt.
and I probably
It's an
should have,
attempt.
probably asked
If
this
it doesn't
question.
work, we can go back,
Probably should have asked this question before the meeting. But if we have a question about, well, the minutes, typically not, but the approval of bills, should we notify you or Danny in advance of the meeting? Or do we do
Yeah.
it at the meeting, or both, or neither? Either?
Either. Questions on the minutes in advance would certainly be helpful. But again, having said that, if you wish to amend or revise either one of these, we can pull it.
So
And
then
it's not a
on a
problem.
procedural basis, do we make a motion to accept the consent decree and then we ask questions to remove stuff? Or do you ask questions to remove stuff to talk about it before the motion's made? I'm
So-
sorry.
No.
Just trying to get the ground rules.
No,
No, I know, and this is
Some-
fine. Yeah.
some villages are a little more formal in approving the consent agenda before they move to consider it. Others just take the view that if the mayor asks, if any trustee wants to remove an item, please say so, or we will at that time. Otherwise, we proceed to consideration of the consent agenda. So for our first attempt at it, we said rather than have multiple motions, I asked the mayor if she would please just inquire of all the board if you have any desire to remove any item from the consent agenda. This parenthetical that appears here would appear on every agenda in the future, as they do something like this in other towns that have these. Some towns leave the bills off the consent agenda, but if you
Well, I don't have,
talk to someone in advance, then many towns do have them on the consent agenda. It's really just a preference.
I just have a question. I don't want to remove anything. I just have a question about something that's on there, why it's the way it is. So do I say I want to remove that, or do I say I want to question it, or what?
I think you
What
would
do I
want to
do?
remove it because
Okay.
otherwise it defeats the purpose of.
Well, okay, then I would like to remove the Gowalt invoices because I have a question. And I think I know the answer, but there's a lot of invoices on there.
We can certainly do that.
Okay.
We can certainly do that, and we can address those separately at the next meeting.
Oh, well,
Or-
I don't want to hold it over to the next
Oh, you
meeting.
don't. Okay, we'll
We could
just, okay, we'll
Probably
address
answer
them
that now.
separately.
Well,
Okay,
hopefully.
do you want me to ask the question now? I'm sorry.
I'll defer to Bruce.
I'm trying not
I
to be
know,
difficult.
I know. No. It's just like a first step. It's like a baby
Right.
step in, because at some point we can put things in here on the consent
no,
agenda that are small.
I'm all for the consent
If you're-
agenda.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, we're
The
learning.
only
This is
question I
fine.
have, and I
Yeah.
think I know the answer, is why are there so many bills from Gowalt Hamilton that span multiple months? And my guess is that it's because you've been in conversation with them about their bills. Is this close?
Yes,
Okay.
Director Witt and I
all I need.
spend a lot of time giving those invoices a thorough review. As you know, it's a huge portion of our overall budget goes to the work that they do. And due to various vacation schedules of people being off, our contacts over there being off, there was a little bit of a backlog, which we were finally able to push through 2 of them. And then the third one became available, and we were like, well, it worked for our schedules to review it quickly so that we
Get it in.
could be entirely caught up,
Okay,
so to speak.
that's my only,
Okay.
that was the only question.
Oh,
And I'm
oh,
sorry
good.
that took
And-
longer
and
than
was
if
a
it
good
would have
one.
been
No,
done
no,
the other
No,
way.
no. It's a learning process. It's new. It's new.
so before, if there's a motion to approve the consent agenda in a second, there's always a roll call vote because some of the items on the consent agenda will require a roll call vote.
Right.
And also, before we vote on the consent agenda, we could ask the clerk to just advise the public of what are the items being considered under the consent agenda.
Items on the proposed consent agenda are 4A, which are the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of August 19th, 2025. 4B, which would be the approval of the bills from 8/18/2025 to 8/29/2025.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Clayton? Trustee Eastman?
Aye.
Trustee Jamerson?
Aye.
Trustee Raff?
Aye.
Trustee Smith?
Nay.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I should also just have pointed out to the board that a vote on the consent agenda is deemed to be a vote for each individual item. So the yeas and nays are recorded as if they were for each of the items on the consent agenda.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Finance Director's report. Director Vasquez, please.
Thank you, Mayor. For my report tonight, there have been a number of items I've been working on, in particular the 2026 budget, trying to get numbers further there. And also some discussion about banking relationships and trying to find dates for further discussions on that topic. But aside from that, this is the time of the year where we're really diving in deep on the budget work. And that's what I have for my report tonight.
Are there any questions for our director? Seeing none, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is Director of Community Services report. Director Witt, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So my report's very light tonight, basically centered around Saunders Road. We are still in limbo on both projects. We have yet to hear from IDOT that they have awarded the contract to Builders Paving. And for the water main break, we are working with the contractor to establish a start date. We will certainly we're asking for a 2-week notice so that we can give notice up and down Saunders Road to each and every resident to let them know the activity that will occur and a rough time frame as we get it from them. We will continue to post on the website throughout the project to keep people apprised of what the current schedule is and the general activities they'll see. The only other thing I have is just a reminder that there is no adjudication hearing due to a schedule conflict with the prosecutor's office. So we look to October to be the next hearing date. That's all I have.
Are there any questions for our director? Oh, Trustee Graff, please.
Are we still anticipating closing Saunders for a 2-day period?
Maybe. At this point, that would be the worst. What we are working with them is to just do flaggers potentially for the day and still leave half the street open during those 2 main days where we cross the road. And as they finish the one half, we'll steel plate it and we'll work on the second half and then we'll steel plate that. Plates will be in place probably for 1 to 2 weeks as they finish up the rest of the work and while they can backfill and let the backfill material solidify. So it looks at this point that we'll probably keep Saunders Road open, but it'll only be for 1 lane at a time on a particular day. We're trying to do the best to have the minimal impact and, going from a 2-week process of total shutdown to a 2-day and now to half lanes, half street, I think is a step in a great direction. And the contractor's amenable to doing that.
Are there any other questions for our director? Thank you. Police report, chief is not with us this evening. Attorney's report,
Everything I have is on the agenda.
Plan Commission report, Chair Brightcoff. I turned it on. I think it's on.
It is. So good evening, everyone. Plan Commission will not meet in September. We are putting together an agenda for moving forward on the comprehensive plan. So it takes a bit of time to think through what our process is going to be. We will probably reschedule the October meeting to later in the month due to scheduling issues. And we will hopefully go forward with a comprehensive plan at that time. That's all I have.
Are there any questions for our chair? Okay, thank you so much. Zoning Board of Appeals, our chair is not with us this evening. Fire District report, our chief is not with us this evening. Information items and comments from the president. Status of the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. The county board has approved a proposed ordinance for dissolution of the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. The next steps in the process, and I have in my hand a memo from the Assistant County Administrator talking about the procedure that's to be followed. The next step is an audit of the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District. It is not anticipated that this audit will be happening until mid to late September. Following the audit, the county board may adopt an authorizing ordinance to finalize the dissolution. Upon adoption, the board chair must petition the court to appoint a trustee in dissolution, immediately terminate the governing board of the dissolving unit, provide for trustee compensation to be paid from the unit's corporate funds. In the transition, the state's attorney becomes the unit's exclusive legal representative. The county treasurer assumes the role of treasurer for the dissolving unit. The county clerk becomes the unit's second secretary. There is a backdoor referendum provision. Before the ordinance takes effect, there is a 30-day period where it is subject to a backdoor referendum. The county must publish a notice specifying the number of signatures required to trigger a referendum, 7.5% of the registered voters in the governmental unit, or 200 registered voters, whichever is less. Then there are deadlines for petitioning and the prospective referendum date and so forth. This is hitting us at a very weak time. This is our budgeting season. And if the county dissolves the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District, we will not have their services next year because dissolution means there's no contract with Clark. So this is an important step. And I think as I've reported to you in prior times, we are exploring other options. Those other options run from intergovernmental agreements with other municipalities to share costs and services, or an intergovernmental agreement that could be with the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District. We have enjoyed economies of scale, and currently using the past four years of our experience with the services provided by Clark under the district, our costs average between $85,000 and $90,000 a year. So for similar services, then we would be paying $85,000 or $90,000 a year. Depending on the number of sprays we execute for adult mosquito control, the number of surveillances and so forth. So this is not a minor issue to us because this would be an ongoing issue. I suspect that our cost with the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District would be far less because that is a very large district covering parts of Northbrook and Glenview and Wilmette, Winnetka, and so forth. There is a call with the mayors and village managers of the municipalities in the South Lake District coming up on September 17th. I don't know what the results of that call would be. I don't know what the plans might be laid and those. I know that we need to take care of Riverwoods. So we are exploring and have a meeting set with the North Shore Mosquito Abatement District for September 25, I think, Andy? Yeah. It's not a small matter. We all know West Nile virus is out there. We all know mosquitoes are carry vector diseases, and there are other diseases that could be coming down the line. So this is a health and safety issue for a fact. And we do need to have consideration for next year. It is possible that the backdoor referendum does occur. It is possible it would be on a ballot. That ballot might be in March or in April, depending on the election where referendums are put. And that doesn't give us a heck of a lot of time to react to anything. So mosquito season begins someplace April, May-ish with the larvicides and all that. So we have some serious discussions and we have some serious considerations that we need to attend to in the next several months. And Trustee Eastman has accompanied me on many of those, and I'd like him to comment as well.
I was just going to say, rather than waiting for trustee comments, I mean, I think that meeting on the 17th with sort of the broader municipalities is going to be very important in figuring out if we could carry a backdoor referendum, right? Because it'd be very difficult for Riverwoods and Bannockburn to generate what you would need to carry that in what we've seen to be, low turnout municipal elections. So to me, that's very important because if Highland Park we're willing to say, look, we want to keep this structure, right? Then we might have the confidence. It's not so hard to get it on the ballot. It's a lot harder to actually, given that, you would have to wait until March and April and you really wouldn't have a plan in place, right? We would want to be sure that we had a reasonable path to, carrying that result and preserving the district. So I think I'd just add that color that to me, that's going to be very interesting to see how that shakes out and what their position is.
Yeah. There is there's an upcoming Finance and Administration Committee meeting on Thursday. This item is not on their agenda. The Lake County Board meeting is September 9th. And I think I don't know if we should appear or not appear. It's very difficult to know. Now we're into the political realm of this. So that'll be something we discuss and decide what we're going to do, even if it's showing up just to show up. But we'll take it into cut. Trustee Clayton, please.
Just a question.
Absolutely.
I remember, I think that the district had a fair amount of money in the bank. What happens to, does that get redistributed back to the taxpayers?
It does. No, it gets redistributed to the municipalities, as far as I know. And
But it came off the individual's tax bill.
whoops. Yeah, I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that? I know. So that's kind of an interesting question. And I don't know how they would go about this. Again, there's a trustee, there's somebody, what did I say? The county treasurer assumes the role of treasurer for dissolving the unit. So how that occurs, it's an interesting topic. I don't know the answer to that. Return to the municipalities, and how much? Yes, there's a little over $1 million in the bank. This is a unit with no debt, money in the bank, a sole provider who is in the top tier, if not the only game in town, if you will. No employees, no assets. The trustees don't get any compensation. So it's it's a very low tax rate. My tax bill, it was what, $28 for the year. So there's not a lot of logic associated with this, other than the desire to eliminate the number of taxing districts in Lake County. And there you have it. So, and I thank Trustee Raff and Trustee Trevino for speaking up at those meetings, and for Trustee Eastman for attending the South Lake board meetings with me and being available for those calls. And certainly the RPC showed up. Randy Merrill and Sarah Merritt also testified before the committee, and doing the best we can with this, trying to understand. Strangely enough, I was asked for, and I'm having a meeting with the new board chair of the South Lake Mosquito Abatement District tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure what the topic is. So we'll see. We'll see. Trustee Raff, please.
Yes. Question about, is it the North Shore District? In your discussions, is it to obtain services from them, or is there a potential to join that, or no, because they're in Cook County, I assume?
Both. We can do an intergovernmental agreement with them. And here's the shift in cost goes from the individual taxpayer into our budget. So again, I would hope, excuse me, I would hope that we would, the cost of services with the North Shore District would be far less than we would pay as an individual client of Clark Mosquito Abatement. So it's, again, it's exploring, and we want to have a plan in place. This is budget season, and mosquito season will be here before the referendum vote is taken, or could be. It's hard to. So there are a lot of conversations, a lot of legwork, a lot of phone calls, a lot of meeting attendance. So we'll keep you up to date, certainly. It's important. It's a health issue. Is there any further discussion on that? Well, thank you very much. Thanks for your support. Appreciate it. Visitors wishing to address the board on items not on the agenda.
You can talk.
No, no.
Okay. Oh, as the former co-chairs of the Sustainability Task Force, we'd like to know where this draft plan stands and how soon we can hope for some action on it.
I wish I had my thing with me. The last communication we had, the technical review, to the technical review committee, which included Trustee Smith, we were talking with Tesca about pulling together all of the comments that were made about the report and trying to fashion it into what we termed as a playbook. And our Tesca planner, who has done this kind of work before, has proposed that, and we have passed that along to the committee. I have not gotten any response yet from the committees or from the members of that technical review group, but that is intended to take the work that has been produced and put it into more actionable items. There were a number of sustainability plans that were reviewed during that time, and there were a couple that were noted as being plans that were direct and attractive is the best word I can come up with right now. That would be Lake Bluff and Lake Forest. And those plans also integrated with the comprehensive plan. So the intention of this playbook is to develop more of an action plan and something that's this is not a word, integratable, might be, that's able to be integrated into the comprehensive plan work that's going to be done. So that's where we are right now.
So is the committee going to meet soon to talk about it? Should the members be asked to convene? And what's our next step? Or is there a committee?
I think we need to bring it to the board, bring the idea of the playbook and the development of the playbook to the board and for the board's approval, and then we can move forward.
Do you have anything you want to? Nope. Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else wishing to address the board at this point?
I just want to point out that one of the items under new business is approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Metropolitan Alliance of Police, Chapter 330. This is our collective bargaining agreement negotiation with the union representing our police officers. I'm going to ask the board, I think we're going to ask the board whether we need to go into closed session to discuss the terms of the proposed memorandum of understanding. If we do, my suggestion is we do that after we take up the rest of new business. We'll go into closed session, then we would come back into regular session. So I'm just mentioning this because if anyone wanted to make a comment on the collective bargaining agreement, there'll be a period of time when we'll be closed because we'll be in closed session. When we come back, if you wait, you then would have an opportunity to ask questions based on the discussion in the open session. But if you wanted to make a comment now, you can.
Okay, seeing none. Council has summarized the first item, the approval of the memorandum of understanding with the Metropolitan Alliance of Police, Chapter 330 with the Village of Riverwood. Second item on the agenda is discussion regarding the use of fee in lieu provision of the Affordable Housing Ordinance with respect to a proposed development on the Walters Kluwer site. Do I have a motion? What?
For the second item?
For the second item, yes,
Oh.
the fee in lieu.
Oh, no.
Seeing none. Is there further discussion on that item? Okay, thank you. Moving forward. Last item is discussion regarding the village access road between Elevate Care and CubeSmart. Attorney Hubbard, please.
Here we go. The the picture that I've distributed around, do you all have it? Good, good. So what you're looking at is Deerfield Road, and on the south side of Deerfield Road, you see CubeSmart and the Elevate Care Facility. And I've highlighted in green a portion of the access road. And then on the north side of Deerfield, you see the access road as it's proposed to be continued around the detention headed towards Colonial Court. The north part of the access road is what we agreed with the fire station would become a public road. And we would improve it eventually if it connects to Colonial Court, or remember, the village may have a parcel that's usable just where I've indicated future village use. So it's a road that would serve multiple properties. The purpose of the discussion is not so much the road north of Deerfield Road, but I wanted to show it on the map so that the context was clear. It really concerns the road on the south side of Deerfield. This is village property already. The outlot for this subdivision that created Thornton's and CubeSmart is 100 feet wide. We acquired the access strip many years ago, in 2007, I think, in connection with the proposed special use for what was going to have been a different gasoline station many years before Thornton's. That idea never came to fruition, but at the time we created a subdivision with a lot for where now Thornton's is, a lot for where CubeSmart is, and a lot called Outlot A that the village owns. We acquired this as part of the approval at that time with a view to long-range planning. We wanted to be able to control the use of that outlot from property to the south. You'll see I put way down the future use of 37 acres. We were thinking at the time that this proposals came to the village that wanted to tie in to Outlot A, the village should have control over that. As we developed Thornton's and CubeSmart, we entered into redevelopment agreements with each of those entities, and we created, because they needed to have marketable access to Deerfield Road for their own title insurance purposes, we created easements over Outlot A in favor of Thornton's and CubeSmart so that they could get out to Deerfield Road and be able to get in and out of the site. As part of that easement agreement, they ended up picking up during that time that they're using it as an easement, the cost of maintaining the road, although from what I've observed and talked to the parties, there hasn't been really any maintenance. It's fairly new. It was put in 2017 or 2018. The road has another component. You'll see I typed in service drive because that's the part of the drive that goes behind CubeSmart and Thornton's out to Milwaukee. That is not owned by the village and is basically the service drive for Thornton's and CubeSmart. So what I'd like to, so the reason this has come up is that the county is, of course, acquiring property from Elevate, as it was acquiring property on the north side from the Federal Life site. And it's closing off one of the access points that Elevate will have to Deerfield Road. The access point it's closing off is the one that's right near the intersection of where this green access road hits Deerfield Road. There's a, you can't really see it here, but there was a curb cut there that will be removed. So Elevate Care will still have 3 curb cuts. It'll have this little circular drive you see to the east. And then even further east, which is off of this map, they have nearer the river, they have another curb cut. So they have a lot of curb cuts, but they won't have the 4th curb cut. As part of the county project and as part of what the county is offering to Elevate, the county is going to rebuild the road on Outlot A into a full 3-lane roadway with gutters, manholes, and to catch water. They'll provide stormwater out to Deerfield Road, I believe. And though not on Outlot A, they would also extend some of the paving into the parking lot of Elevate. They're doing this in part to satisfy some concerns that Elevate has. It's just part of the project. The village doesn't have to share in this cost. What I propose to do is to tell Thornton's and CubeSmart that the village will designate our outlot as a regular street. I want them to no longer have any approval rights as easement holders because they'll now just be on a village street. And we would control access by Elevate and by property to the south. Basically, it's becoming cumbersome with the prospect of multiple commercial owners, especially as this aligns with what will be the village road into Colonial Court. So I wanted to explain this to the board that the current situation is we don't designate it a village street, although it's village-owned property, and it's subject to an easement agreement, a cross easement agreement with Thornton's and CubeSmart, who may feel that they have some rights to say something about whether Elevate connects into this or not. But if we designated a village street, it's clear that issue goes away. So that's what I'm bringing to your attention tonight. If the board has concerns or questions, let me know. Otherwise, I would probably go back to Thornton's and CubeSmart, negotiate some kind of modification to the easement agreement, and the county would be interested in knowing this as well because it will also facilitate their negotiations with Elevate.
Trustee Jamerson?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the reason that they're making the south connection to Elevate is because they're going to move all the parking to the back was the plan, because they're going to lose all that parking in the front. Did that change?
No. What they did is all the parking in the front used to be up against Deerfield Road. They flipped it to be away from Deerfield Road and created a one-way travel path, but they're keeping all the same parking on the north side.
Okay, so they're only really using this access because they're losing the access that's right next, it's just to the east of the current, our current access, correct?
Correct.
And the county's going to pay for all of the,
Yes.
okay. I see.
Trustee Clayton, please.
Who maintains the road now?
That was my other question.
Under the easement agreement, it's Thornton's and CubeSmart. And I think at the time it was done, CubeSmart agreed to a 50-50 share with Thornton's. With Elevate, then I have to figure out, then it becomes very complicated. And CubeSmart is realizing, I think, that it has approximately 9 visitors a day and Thornton's has something else. And anyway, when you start trying to balance all the interests of different commercial owners, that's what I'd like to avoid.
You done?
Trustee Jamerson, please.
So maintenance includes snow plowing.
Yes.
So we will end up plowing this little piece, but only to the service drive. We won't do.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking to do. Okay. I'll get back to the board with more updates on this.
Are there any other comments? Okay, thank you. Next order, if there is no old business, committee reports. Finance, Trustee Clayton, please.
As I think you know, we have been approached by Verizon to put an antenna on top of the water tower. By way of background, we have AT&T and T-Mobile who have been longtime residents on the water tower. The village had long-term leases with both of them for their presence on the water tower, and that we monetized those leases through an agreement with a company called Landmark several years ago at this point. Now Verizon is interested in adding an antenna to the top of the water tower. They made us an initial offer as to what the lease rate and escalation would be. We have since negotiated what I believe to be a much better financial situation. I think the idea would be that if we were to lease the space to Verizon, we would make an attempt to monetize the lease in order to forego the technology risk and the management risk in a long-term antenna, and which we do not know the life of per se at this particular point. So I just wanted to let the board know that at the next board meeting, I'm going to be presenting to the board the Verizon analysis. And then from that, should we approve the Verizon offer, then we can enter into negotiations with a company like Landmark, particularly Landmark, to see if we can monetize the lease. So that's been sort of a primary effort of the finance group at this particular point. We've been through quite a number of present value calculations. And I think we're at a point now where we're prepared to make a recommendation. That's my report.
Are there any comments or questions? Thank you very much, and thank you for your work on that. Thank you. Legal and legislative, trustee Eastman, please.
Nothing to report.
Building and infrastructure, trustee Jamer. Oh, wait, time out. Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, moving on. Building and infrastructure, trustee Jamerson, please.
The building report's in the packet. The year-to-date has now, construction value has now surpassed 2024 year-to-date and is closing in on 2023, but part of that's because there's a very large re-roofing project for one of our commercial tenants, or I shouldn't say tenants, one of our commercial properties. So that's all I have. We're in good shape there, and the building department continues to be busy, which is also good. So,
Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Land Use Committee, trustee Raff, please.
Yes, excuse me, I don't have anything to report at this time.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, moving forward, sustainability and community services, trustee Smith, please.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. You provided my update on sustainability, so we're good to go.
You're welcome. Okay, are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, moving forward, communications, trustee Trevino, please.
I asked regarding the surveys, the discussion guides are in final draft. We should have those by the end of the week. So I'll be reaching out to folks to start the interviewing. So I'll be reaching out to folks here at this table as well as senior staff at the village just to get that kicked off. And then I did want to report at the last meeting, we approved the water increase. And why do I do this? Director, thank you, Director Vasquez. We were able to meet and we planned out the media and the messaging, which you will now find on the September, October, November billing. And then the next is to get it into the 3 or 4 spots on the website. So there will be a follow-up to see what that is, but I want to say thank you for the collaboration. And that's it.
Are there any questions for our trustee? Okay, seeing none, moving on. Next item, board comments. Any comments from any of our trustees? Discussion, items, ideas? Okay, moving forward, executive session. I believe we do have an item, and I'm
we have
going to
two.
ask our, yes.
We have 2 items. One is to go into closed session to consider collective negotiating matters, specifically our collective bargaining agreement with the Metropolitan Alliance of Police. This is under Exception 2C2. And under Exception 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act, we are going to be discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees.
Okay, so I need a motion to move into executive session, please.
So moved.
Is there a second? Do I need a roll call?
Yes.
Oh, roll call, please.
Trustee Jamerson?
aye.
Trustee Raff?
Aye.
Trustee Smith?
Aye.
Trustee Trevino?
Aye.
Trustee Clayton?
Aye.
Trustee Eastman?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, at this point, only members of the board We will come out of executive session. And as Attorney Huvard said earlier, if you have questions about the MAP negotiations, that might be the time to ask them. So, good night
But it could be late,
and thank you.
but it could be.
Bye, Jim.
It may not be worth saying for them.
Uh,
No, that's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because they're leaving and
Are you like leaving the building? Is that it? Okay. Yeah.
you can close them.
Thanks,
If
Jim.
it makes you
Thanks,
feel
Amy.
better.
Turn off these recordings with this, you actually moving here.
Oh,
So,
Can't you just turn the camera in the past?
recorded, but you have to have.
You move the camera up in the ceiling. That's what we did one time. Turn the camera up.
then splicing it out to remove it. Yeah. Why don't we just stay over there
No,
and sit at the table?
Sit at the table?
And then we'll have to turn it back on, we'll come back to regular session.
okay. So where are we going? We're going
Just
over
go to the
there.
table, yeah.
Leftover pizza.
Oh, I almost made a board notice. We do need some people for some retreats. So you guys have a great for the fall class. And you know, we're there are some people, but we have 7, well, yeah, I mean.
Not good for me to suggest meeting at Camden.
And Jim's wife, Bless, was part of the Girl Scout thing, so we got it covered.
Sorry, guys, I just want to move this to a different folder.
Closed session. Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay, so we should call roll.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Ford, Trustee Clayton, Trustee Eastman, Trustee Jamerson, Trustee Raff,
Here.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Trevino.
Here.
We have a quorum. Also present is Attorney Bruce Huvard, Director Witt, Director Vasquez, and Eric Ochoa, and me, the village clerk.
One of the requirements of the Open Meetings Act is that we repeat again why we have gone to closed session. It's numbers of reasons why we can't go into closed sessions. One of the reasons is to discuss the discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee. The other reason is to discuss collective negotiating matters like our collective bargaining contract. So we have two different topics tonight. I didn't talk with you ahead of time, which should be first, but which is you want to do math first. Okay, so you have the memo that we prepared. There's something that I forgot to share with you all, and I think the copies and handed out, which is a salary comparison. You have those already. I'm only taking the lead there because these guys traveling one coming for vacation from there, and our chief is a logical person to take it. So I'm, in my opinion, and yeah, we all sat through these meetings where the chief explains in detail his reasoning and rationale for what we were trying to accomplish in this agreement. And one of the things that I'm passing out is the table of salaries of nearby departments. Now, the chief said they're never going to be the same way as Norfolk, one of the larger communities. But what's really changed is that, say, before COVID and before George Floyd, if when larger departments hired, you would get the candidates out of the police academy. Maybe 100 people would sit for the test, you'd have a bunch of candidates, they would hire them and train them and start getting lower salaries. The world has changed a great, and now he says that we're competing as a department against the larger departments because we've hired people who've been out 15 years, 20 years. And that makes it better to see that this officer is appropriate for a community like ours who understands how to deal with a community like ours. And when we try to track those kind of candidates, they can go to Banfirm, which happens to be 9 of Banfirm's items. They can go to other communities around us. And so we're competing with those communities, even if we don't want to. So when the committee sat around, the goal we had initially was if the bargaining unit had said to us initially, we only want a 4% increase per year, we would have had an internal disappointment. We wouldn't have known how, because what we really wanted to do is to get them closer to 30 with what makes us able to attract the talent. We have our own economic goals. So we weren't telling them bargaining, but our goal was to end up with a scale that would make us competitive. That was I'm speaking for all of us now, but the goal was to make us competitive. And so we studied the joining salaries, and now we know what some of the increases were in some of the years around us. For example, Norfolk did a 4-year contract in May, 4%, 3.75, 3.75, and 4%. So they're continuing to accelerate to some extent, where we're barely keeping up with what we wanted to do. And so we looked at these tables, and as we said in the memo, the original offer from MAP was 7, 6, 7, 7%, 6%, 7% on the year. So their concern is primarily salary and vacation. The big issue with tracking someone who has 15 years of experience, 20 years of some of our officers we have, is that they come over. They were used to going 4 weeks of vacation. We started them 2. They were used to going to Augusta, Wisconsin, not come over here. I'm as a 10-year veteran. Didn't work with the salary, so there's just an influence factor to pay challenge American. It's a nice community. Everyone knows. These are not guys who are really wanting to charge into action. They're not wanting to fight. They don't need for cash. So there is a they also asked for some other top things. A number of departments have had to give up compensatory time. We didn't do that. We ended up asking for 1 additional holiday. We originally asked for 2. The main set of competing positions that we had was how to get more vacation pay for the senior officers. So a lot of that has to do with how to credit it the prior time. We had a proposal that credited them an extra 5 years when they came over, so that they could bump them up in 2 to 3 weeks of vacation. Right? Their proposal was to take vacation time, holiday time that they didn't use, and convert it to vacation time. We allowed that in the existing contract up to 64 hours. And by allowing it up to 108 hours, we essentially gave them 42 hours or something in vacation, which is like another week, which is essentially we ended up backing into kind of what we would. It was very confusing because we honestly felt like our proposal was better for them.
No, that's not right.
No, but at some point or another, the only thing that I wanted to add in is that the deal with the pensions, the precedent of the pensions is, and the vacation is a big deal. And even if we were on par with salaries, we're still going to be disadvantaged in that regard, number one. Number two, the chief manages a relatively small department, and it's important to him to be able to have the proper amount of staffing so that he can work out schedules in such a way that we have 2 officers in the community at all times. If we fall short an officer or 2, then it really disrupts the entire schedule. So recruiting and keeping people on board who are willing to forego some of the pension and vacation benefits was, to us, at least to me, a deciding factor in thinking that if we can get the salaries as close as possible to where we can compete, where the chief felt he can compete. And then also, we asked for and obtained a 4th year in the contract, which was a very good deal.
That's a good deal.
And so we acquired that in exchange for some of the salary that we put on the table. So my recommendation to the board as a trustee is that this is right for our residents. This is a financially responsible contract, and I think we should approve it. The police union has signed off on it.
Go ahead, go first. So, 2 questions. First of all, is the vacation pay thing. How many vacation days?
We had, they didn't have Juneteenth in their contract, whereas the village did.
Okay, so how many total days do they have?
100 and.
No.
They did hours. Yeah.
So I think
You're asking for holidays or vacation?
well, holidays, because the part I didn't understand was it doesn't seem like we have holidays. We work all the time. They have holidays, so they work on holidays, so they get to. Okay. So the second question, which is probably more, do we know what this overall cost impact is going to be to the village?
Yes. Yes. And we had budgeted, we had, last year, yes.
So the chief had, for 2025, kind of budgeted some extra space in anticipating how he thought that this negotiation would go, as well as the goals. We have not yet had a chance, since this kind of got wrapped up right before he went on leave, to sit down and talk about 2026 numbers.
In the contract, so the contract started on June, this would be retroactive January 1st.
I think you had mentioned to you that this year's gonna be a little tough because they had a lot of overtime that, so this year might be a little tough, but I think he's pretty much.
Well, go ahead. I was just gonna say, although this is different, these kind of 6-5-4 versus increases are not.
It's good.
They're not common in our, which is different than the police, but these aren't shots.
Yeah, so the cost kind of later on top of that from my experience with human resource consultant. It's all seems very not nominal, but very meaningful. I have no concerns with it at all. I have 2 or 3 questions. One was with the increase in time away, whether that's holidays, vacation, whatever those elements are. Is this why we have agreed to put in a new police position at the last Board of Trustees? So we have the ability to create some flex for people to be off, quote unquote, more.
That was not how the chief explained it to me at the time. The problem was that when we get called into investigations.
Yeah.
Those people.
No, and that's the way you explain it, but this kind of is an added benefit.
There was no legislation about that.
Oh, well, but you can see why I think we reversed that and why I understand. Yeah. So I really have I have one last question. So when a police officer decides to leave the village to retirement, moving to a different village, whatever those things are, is vacation and holiday pay paid out in cash? Because theoretically, we have enough police hours, adding a little bit more vacation time for a police officer, really no theoretical hard costs. My question is that when police officers leave, are they then paid out? Because then that does create costs.
They take some.
It's in the vacation, it's paid out, I have to read the manual to see how they pay it. I think it's just what's been approved.
But some of this.
Yes.
That's really fine. I would kind of propose that in trustee Blake, I mean, let's do whatever you do and be competitive.
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable. But I have a question which probably would be better for the chief. I think there's a provision here that allows the police to hire at a much higher step than will that aid in hiring?
Yeah, it's all geared towards sustaining, police department, where we feel that a lot of our hires. But if you look at the age of our teams, we're probably going to be seeing some turnover in that. And so he wants to be in a position he's able to sustain, what he's doing right now, with, staying on budget, but not being a level of so, yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back into the regular session for the take action. This approving the memorandum basically explains what the incorporated into many times. These are just like incorporated. We'll bring it back. The second item that I want to mention is our employee emergency class. It's in place on administrative leave. I understand why. Director Vestris done a couple of unexplained purchases. And there was an accidental discovery that had been done in an unusual location that had been ordered. When we had been instructed to make the purchase from Amazon, we figured out why. And upon further investigation, we find that there had been like a carrying back or Amazon. There was an earlier purchases, two earlier purchases. Never had been there with our director. There were a couple of other instances, all of them. One of them turns out that there had been bonuses paid. It was in April of last year for employees, and they're saying, saying here's the bonus for them. And the bonus amount was slightly different for some of the employees than they've been used before. That's not unusual. The bonuses have been adjusted because of total compensation. In this employee's case, the bonus was $500 this year, and last year it was $1,000. That was true of another employee as well. In this particular case, when the bonus was actually entered, Director Vasquez found that we entered his bonus as $1,000, not $500. The other employee, in addition to $1,000, was correctly. Pay increase for the title that was given to him was approved by the mayor and the board, and on his own initiative, the increase was made retroactive to January. It's a small amount, but probably it should be made effective. So suddenly there's about 4 or 5 instances. The amounts are all small. The total amount of unauthorized purchases is $700, which means it's the difference in bonus amounts, it's thousands of hundreds. These are very small differences. And this is the person who's basically the right-hand person. So working with our outside counsel who advises us on the research, finance or consultants, director and the consultant now with me this morning and asked for explanations on what are these. And there were no adequate explanations. Instead, it was these seem like very trivial amounts to tackling on considering all I've done for the village. I'm speaking for you now, and I'm speaking for the record. I don't think that he has the confidence to be in a position of share responsibility. I think the point is missing is you're the person who's supposed to be guarding the penthouse, and if you no one can rely on them, this is a brief summary. If you have more questions, but I think that this termination is fully justified based on these infractions. Basically, the chief would probably that. In one instance, the chief said, I think he could be busted. So, not interested in doing that. You know that he's had some health issues. He's over 50. He's in what the employment members call under protected classes. No one wants to be punitive as a terminated employee who would get a severance. They're terminated with non-exempt severance or in other words, a month or 2 months of salary. It's not unusual in circumstances like this for villages to say, well, we're not required to offer you severance, but we'll offer you a severance if you resign. Because I have a termination, you can resign, we'll offer you severance. In the severance agreement, there will be release. I've done this before in a couple of other instances. I think to achieve something that's valuable for the village, because you can't tell you what's unhappy former employee to think of in terms of the lawsuit. And I don't think the village needs to be put in that position. And I also think they see anything in this case to say, okay, this isn't going to work. So, after hearing all this, the board was of the mind to say that yes, so for the negotiate severance, we would try and say, we're prepared to terminate, but if you're of the mind to resign and accept the severance agreement, we'll entertain that. The question is, what's the amount of severance? For another employee, 2 years ago, did 3 months. Bear in mind that under the employment law, even in this case, we would pay the application and improve salary to the date of termination. Because of the way COBRA works, the village is paid its COBRA for the month of September. He can use the severance for whatever he wants. And so I'm thinking that's what someone can negotiate. I'm thinking somewhere between 3 to 6 months. 2 months, but this is a person who is in a dire situation. I know you're shaking your head. So I'm just saying, last time we did this 3 months service. My recommendation is that we try to do the study because I think it will, ease the path. We've already got London, we brought Law, access to all of these security systems. All that's been done. It's really a question of what stuff we take
So, 2 questions. What is his current annual compensation with this 2 to 6 months? Third, 4,100 a paycheck, so 8,200 a month, so 100,000 here, so we're about just 6,000. And then you referenced COBRA. So we would leave that for September, because the termination date isn't until September 3rd or 4th. So it's not okay, we're paying for the month. So we're paying pretty much, because you can't go back. So if he's terminated versus if he's resigns, what's the impact on village responsibility for healthcare and things like that? Is it just COBRA as of 10/1? So he's fully paying for all of it, or does resignation along with severance be some subsidy for complete use of healthcare he's getting for free now?
Severance would not have to be use up there. This is a dollar amount use of.
Use how you see it.
Yeah, yes. I was going to ask, you referenced that we had done this before, kind of used this same procedure before in a similar case. Are we in firm legal ground with offering sort of the, payment as a, in terms of agreeing with resignation? I mean, is that case law solid?
Well, it's based on the advice of our counsel. We use it in our company.
Okay. So that's not a question.
Yeah, just, I know it's going to happen to me, but, his health issues are. And from a humane point of view, like this particular point, just because we have to do that. I think it's important that we're going to take that into consideration.
One last question, Attorney Guard. What is the risk patient against the village?
That
we fired somebody who was stealing from us?
I've seen people because they can find a waiver.
I'm sure you can get a loss. My question is what is either the reputational or monetary damage if we decide to find a loss or allow a lawsuit to proceed?
First, we're going to have these discussions about political grounds of termination. Our personal matters doesn't run this council. But our outside counsel understands when I say this is the we're going to lie. I heard this earlier, they represent an insurance. They ask a legal service advise. This is a person who is specialist in employment this kind of litigation. And her name is Jane. I talked to Jane. So the kind of questions they ask are, well, what are sort of the nature of the infractions? How serious? How well documented are they in person? And before we found some of the, I would say, the instances of just understanding that, we have others, and I'm not worried, but there are other things that happen along the way. But well, no, that man. So if you try to terminate something bad, that might be a problem. But she said maybe before you terminate, you give them an opportunity to restitution. Well, to be heard, or you're right. So I would say the banker, some of the sales, and could someone evaluate claims that there is based on the technical analysis? And someone could say these kind of incidents occur in the village. And I've seen insurance companies settle things because it's cheaper to settle. So, the thing is, unless you're going to say you're terminated, no severance, fine. If you're going to offer people involved, you might as well try and get a release. Right? So I can't quantify exactly the danger, but a lawsuit is a nuisance.
And that's why I was asking, what's the risk
Yeah, when
Is it 1 in 10? Is it?
I would have until the last couple of instances. I mean, anecdotally, I would say that years ago, my father found an employee investment. Apparently, she was actually convicted of investment. And she sued my father's employer company for sexual harassment, and he sold it. And so these things, why would you fix that?
Yeah, couple questions. His health status, is it such that will prevent him from finding another job or? And what are our obligations if we do a package with him in terms of providing letters of recommendation?
So the standard action, any kind of questions, the only thing we can do is confirm some funding from they say that.
The other questions. And but I will tell you that for all of this, this is a case of other people's money and I question judgment and the trust is built. I would use restitution, my personal opinion is I would not accept it because I now don't trust each other. And because it gives municipal money, this is other people's money, this is serious business. And it's just not something that was taken lightly. And I will tell you that, Director Gaspar's uncovered a lot of things. And it's particularly, it's just particularly disappointing because we do recognize that there was a period of time, he was really helped the village in running the ship in terms of the books and so forth. And now that's sort of all in question. Sure. But it becomes a question, it also becomes an issue of how much time do we sacrifice to find a real estate? I think we have enough to know that there are judgment issues here. And if the trust is at the broken, you ask somebody to come back in and do things. Right, and that's you come back in.
So and really, Chris, just to clarify, my point in asking about restitution, it's really more just, is that allowed or not?
Oh, yeah.
It was like, do you want to be terminated or do you want to get back then?
And I answer this no.
Either way, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Either way, you're wrong.
You want to go and over
He's on a single hand, so that is right just under the, it's $12,000 basically with that last 30 saying over for 18 months, 36.
So I
up until our open enrollment period, which is ours, we're going to give us a long collaboration. Not to say we may assume that there's the other option still available, that, we qualify for the change insurance. I don't know if that's something that we would consider. No, but I just, I'm in. Think about an odd 7 months.
Yeah.
3 months is about $12,000. For this salary level, so then I think 24
$8,000 a month.
Over 8,000. Their period. $24,000. We had gone over the hours over the 18.
Yeah.
Just I'm assuming if there are any other more significant issues, the auditors would have picked up on it.
Auditors will, they will let you know that they're not there to look for a fraud. They are there to do a check on the accuracy members, all procedures.
That they wouldn't.
So, they may report or something, or they may not. They're not able to dive into each.
Think about planning on the village. You know, ordering, ordering something for personal use only. How is the other information?
So along those lines, right, and you had said, we don't really have quite a sense of the scope of where it may bleed into other things. Is there any thought, more focused on some sort of employment or some sort of, discrimination lawsuit? What about some sort of list department, right? I mean, if there were, well, I guess it would be the problem.
Yeah.
So, well, that's, yeah, exactly. It's set up.
Yeah, Laura, how long has it been?
Well, no, I'm just gonna say, do we need to come up with some, is that our job, or was that somebody else?
Well, we can motion, but I just need to have a sense. You may say no.
Well, no, I get that. I mean, I'm personally, I would think 3 months would be reasonable.
One month for every year of employment, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Again, it is, we're gonna balance a lot of these things, if somebody really is not well, and we've seen,
Still, I'm on some of it.
yeah, and it's a little, yeah.
Just to reference a little bit point about, almost for a year, does the village have a specified severance policy?
For terminating employees, not
Well, I mean, not, for, no, this you, for jumping. So I think, job work is a reduction in force, specified. Severance for, yeah. So we should might take a look at this. Because if it follows that, then let's, assume.
But if we don't follow that,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But if we give him, I just don't think he severance, he can sign a lease, cancel. That's okay. I understand.
I can say this in 2 seconds.
So what question is your about something I can't answer? I'm just curious about, I'm guessing some things is on the bill.
Yeah.
Correct. Is there anyone else, especially since there is a possibility from a legal perspective? Any number of people that have that number. Because that was really,
Yeah.
she was. Who else might have? Besides the person entering the bill into the council table, is there anyone else who looks at all of the seats that go along with that? Because when we get, when at our company,
Yeah.
we have someone who looks at every single seat, make sure that they were purchased the way they're supposed to be purchased. And I realize you have a very small staff, but you have a credit card bill that I often wonder, what does this $700 that's listed as one line item, what is it, what was it for? I have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming somebody's doing a job, which somebody was, and then some. Do we have a policy that says, if nothing else, just on that credit card, that more than one person looks at all of the seats?
So this is
Well, that was the question.
Well, let's go to get that from your leaders.
Okay, that's fine. That's why I asked. That's the reason I asked. Without.
I said 2 seconds. Well, thank you. Okay, the following schedule is 7. Okay, how long is that?
More than 2 seconds.
Following schedule is 7. Shall have full-time course, professional course, time to vacation, personal sickness, and time applicable to termination for cause. 1 through 9 years of service, 10 paid days.
I just like reasons. I would let them know. Yeah. This case, you know.
Yeah. Or no words wellness.
Well, yeah. Of course, reduction was not really debts. You know, you're just reduced.
Okay, so.
But the other question is there approved vacation? I mean, obviously.
I think vacation particularly was getting around.
Getting that. Okay, so there will be something. That's important.
So that's an add-in above the 3 months, or that's?
You don't put your get out.
Yeah, you had. So.
I will suggest we negotiate for 3 months. And see what it says. I think their release, the way it works is you have to put the document. Days. And he signs it. Right. So, after he signs it, he has 7 days.
7 days of rescission.
So the fact that we come to some, well, actually, we had doesn't mean that. I think what we tell them is this decision is that once we have we present the document and we take a look at it, we continue him as on paid administrative leave, so he signs it. And paid.
Is it currently unpaid?
Now, the way that works.
Currently paid.
Okay.
One day.
The way it's 28 days and 7 days. On day 2, he decides to accept it. And 7 days. So it doesn't have to be.
Make sure. Make sure. But, okay, so, this MO seems to be these small things that provide. That's the way that. In open session, since the board that I we negotiated, they're not back and forth.
Should we give you a little bit more leeway in saying 3 months? When you're negotiating, I mean, should we say you start at 3 months and you have to go to 4, it's okay? Or should we say you can't? 3 months is it?
Well, I wouldn't say 3 months is trying to negotiate the best idea. We can get to that point, and depending on what he says and what happens, I'll come back to the board with this. Look at it. This is part of the strategy, and maybe, maybe this respond will start. I'll keep talking about we're going to research consultant. Maybe it's not a lawyer.
Can I ask you a question? All these times, 7 days and 12 days and all that sort of thing. It sounds like we're going to about 4.
They take the whole time.
Okay, they take the whole time. At least he becomes not paid. So what about health insurance not covered? How's the insurance? Once he's not paid.
You go ahead to submission.
And I know you already covered that part of it, but is retroactive. Yeah.
Again, considering the situation.
Insurance.
Insurance, insurance where we can give insurance and then money for programs, whether it's.
I mean, I don't know how to, we're not supposed to take an final action, so a regular session, you go back to the regular session. I don't want you to go back to the 4 minutes in the session, because I haven't even approached it.
That sort of gives you away with some.
So one last question. So why paid leave? And the question is, it gets up to 28 more days from tomorrow, let's just say. This is what we're going to do, go away. I get 28 days to decide on that, that takes you to September 20. Oh, 21, right, 7 days to recant. Why would we pay him until he mixes out? He's just, oh,
It's hard to.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Perfect.
I don't know if this is relevant and it can be asked now, but losing this employee while you're in the middle of budgeting, what effect will that have? I don't know if we can discuss it in the executive session.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. We'll get back on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I move to adjourn this.
Okay.
Okay.
We are now.
We are now. Oh, we can just do it. Okay.
Sure. I just thought it was very. Next meeting question. I don't know what
Well, who knows? Can't get it here from.
Well, no, I know we can't say anything, but. You know, people don't usually leave jobs. There's potentially reduction in force.
Yeah.
But it'd be hard to explain. It'd be
How many people in the county department? I mean,
they decided to get rid of the accounting department.
So we just have the one thing.
Yeah. Okay, how do I do this? Just call the order.
Mike went to the bathroom.
Oh,
He'll be back. Are we ready to record?
are we ready?
Are we ready to?
Okay. Coming back to order, I call the meeting of the board of the Village of Riverwoods back to order, and I need a roll call.
Mayor Ford,
Here.
Trustee Clayton,
Here.
Trustee Eastman,
Here.
Trustee Jamerson,
Here.
Trustee Raff,
Here.
Trustee Smith,
Here.
Trustee Trevino.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The order of business is to, I need the words, is to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Metropolitan Alliance of Police, Chapter 330, with the Village of Riverwoods. Do I have a motion for approval, please? Oh, yes.
I would just like to say that this is the 4-year contract with the bargaining unit, provides for salary increases and changes in holiday pay, among other factors. There's also a couple of side letters that deal with officers involved in shooting, and what's the other main item I think we covered in the agreement? And use of force. Anyway, just to give the public an idea of what we're voting on. It's a 4-year contract.
Okay, do I
So
have a,
moved.
thank you. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Jamerson,
Aye.
Trustee Raff,
Aye.
Trustee Smith,
Aye.
Trustee Trevino,
Aye.
Trustee Clayton,
Aye.
Trustee Eastman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Seeing no other business for the board at this point, may I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we are adjourned.